right, so it's Sunday again. It's 2 o'clock and it is time to finish the style we started last week. So give me just a second. I want to grab one thing real quick. Yeah, just sorry. Ruining everything. Sorry, so much noise. Okay, back to it. Hold on. Sometimes things happen. We're in a salon. People got to do what they got to do. So last week we went ahead and did the set described in the June Allyson style, which was 2 stand-up curls on the crown, forehead, and then everything else was originally intended to be 2 rows of pin curls, sides and the back. And that means that we are, sorry, I modified this last week. We did a wet set and I chose to put rollers in to mimic the rows of pin curls. And through the week, while she dried, I went ahead and took the rollers out, but left the curls in to finish drying down the centers. So here's the 2 larger stand-up curls, and then forward rolled pin curls, or what would be the pin curls, but forward rolled roller curls down the sides and then in the back. So we had a grand total of 11 rolls here. So you could change this to be hot rollers, curling iron, or even try to do a pin curl set rolled forward if that was more your preference. So the first thing we're going to do is start by doing the boring part, which is removing pins so that she can be, let me just, yep, just meant to knock everything over. All right, so we're just pulling pins here. The hair will probably start falling loose. We used gel as a holding product. Oh, she feels kind of clammy. Let me see. No, I think she's dry. Sorry, I put my face on it. I don't do that to real clients, but a lot of times your face is a little bit more weirdly, like your fingers can feel things as damp when they aren't, and then if you touch it to, say, your cheek, or if there's nothing on your lips, you can touch it to your lip, and then it can tell you if it's really still damp, or if you were literally just feeling things as kind of slightly clammy on the fingers. So that's a fun trick. A little harder to do on yourself or on a real person. They may not go for you putting your face in their hair. And we're going to start with just combing out using Denman 7-row brush. Combing out and just making sure that we are smooth and combed and smooth and combed or brushed. And then I'm going to bring the sides together, the side curls, brush them together, and then just let them live as a curl for a minute. It's kind of fun, kind of cute. I do the other side. I'm really working to try and show more of what I'm doing. So using my hand as a base to comb onto. There's 1 curl. And then the second curl, which had a little bit more hair in think I might be pulling a little from the back as well. Got a little bit of crimping. It's not my favorite, but given the thickness of the hair, it's a bit inevitable. I don't know if you can see, if we can see here. All right, fine where we are. If you can kind of see that little crimpy mark there, just from the clips in the hair. And we're going to do the same thing I just did to the other side, which is to brush together and brush, use my hand as a base for the ends, brush together, and just let them be a curl. That's kind of a fun curl. We're going to do the top real quick. Let me see if I can raise up just a tiny bit. Here we go. All right, and come in to the top. I didn't even do the other one by itself, but I'm okay with that. I'm just going to brush those together, and remembering that in between all the rollers was a zigzag part to help eliminate a strong, straight roller mark. And then just going to kind of let that fall into whatever it's doing. Apparently we're doing that. Oh, see, that's cute. All right, and to the back. For the remainder, I'm going to reach underneath and start in the bottom. I'm coming under with the brush. Under until I get to the ends, and then it's on my hand. Apologize for the view. Someday I'll have a real camera crew, and this'll be much better shown. Got a few crimpies in this one as well. As long as we can avoid the crimpy look on the areas closest to the surface, then we'll be okay. And we've got these large top sections. I'm still very weirded out by these little, I don't know, let me see if I can come in kind of close here. Okay, and where are you hiding? Of course, right when I... So I have these little color speckles in my doll's hair that I don't know where they came from, and it's kind of a bummer. I mean, really, kind of a bummer to find your beautiful, nearly pristine white-haired beauty is speckled with what it looks like is somebody spilled soy sauce. It's a very strange thing, but that's the best description that I've got, especially for color. Now that we have combed everything out, we are going to aim for creating a page boy, which would be a tucked under style. So we're going to start brushing everything together. Everything together. And see if you can kind of see. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is avoid... I don't really feel like backcombing today, so we're just going to use the curl that was already set in and just let it curl on itself. So we have this nice undertuck, and if you want, one thing you can do is take, and especially if it's your own hair, you want it to stay, is to slide a bobby pin into the curl and then into the back of the head to hold the hair in place. So that's an option. This is a little trickier on this doll just for the sake of, she doesn't have a lot of head space, so it's a little tiny bit tricky to get the results that I am absolutely looking for. I was going to put some stuff in her hair, but I didn't, and that's okay. She'll be all right. So this is going to be a little bit tricky, and we can fuss in a minute. So we're going to do the same idea here, which is to roll the hair up, and I'm going to do my best to blend everything together. Just leave that as such. All right, and I'm going to try and pin this curl in place, but like I said, she doesn't have a ton of space on her head, so it gets a little tricky. Now to blend.
Alright, we're going down.
So I'm going to be using extra large hairpins to start holding everything together. This is also a place where if you want to, you can try using a little back combing in here to help fill in the sections, but I think I'll be able to get everything to blend well enough with some clips and some hairspray, so I think we'll be all right in that respect. Sometimes you just need a few clips here, and then I'll just kick my doll head. That's fun. Kick the stand. All right, and then through here, since that one really, there we go. And we'll just keep working with the pins here to continue to create a bit of style. Go, and before anything goes too crazy, I'm going to just spray it, a little hairspray, so it can start setting into the page boy style. And I'm going to use a little bit of the blow dryer just to kind of help lock things in place. How to get things to stay. Spray it with hairspray and then hit it with a blow dryer. Alright, we're going to turn this lovely lady around so we can do this other side, and then we'll work out the... Oh, for Christ's sake. My apologies. Let's see if I can do this. Alright, so same idea. We're going to just comb this and then use the preset curl to roll up the side. Now on the original, her hair was much shorter, so this may not translate quite as well if you were to try and do if you were to try and do the long curls. It's a little more aimed for a looser flowing situation. See if we can do this. I'll go in Okay, I just hope that it stays. And doing the same thing, which is to use our pins to create some blend and to create a little more cohesive style. Once more, this is also an area where if you wanted to backcomb to fill in and then smooth over the top, this is a good place for that, a nice option. And then continuing with the blending here, and keep a similar pattern going from side to side. Figure out where everything's gonna go, what it's gonna look like. So you know, you just kind of futz around until it gets kind of where you want it, and I'm gonna do the same thing, which is to hairspray and then blow dry, and I'm also going to hairspray the remainder of the back section as well. There we go, and away we go. Blow dryer, so it's going to be kind of loud. Leaving the pins, and now we're gonna figure out the front. And in this case, it's the front was styled over from the left and off of the forehead. So normally in these circumstances, if I were to be doing what I would normally kind of think to do, it would be to come down and create, you know, some kind of a bang section that could then join over, you know, something that swept the forehead. But because I want to stay a little bit closer to what was shown in the picture demonstrated, we are going to keep the hair off the forehead. So this is going to be a little different, and I'm going to need to pull these pins because we're styling over the top of this section. Therefore, I need to not lose pins in the middle of it. So here we go, combing through, and I'm going to do my best to, once more, I'm not going to do any back combing, but it's not that you can't, it's just I don't feel like that's what I want to do right now. So, and I'm going to just create a little style that is, oh good, I do have a silver pen. Something that's a little reminiscent of what was put on the example of specifically June Allyson. All right, now I'm gonna hide that pin. We're gonna start doing once more using the big pins to create the direction so that we can have a style without putting too much extra effort in. So that's where these lovely pins come in. They're very, very useful in the styling process. trying to decide how I want this to go, because I don't necessarily want it to be down on the forehead, but I also want to have a little bit more of a blend and less of a gap. Yeah, we'll just do something like this. More pins. As per usual, the style comes out however it does once we get there, because I don't, while we have the guidance of the guidance of the diagram and how this particular star, in this case June Allyson, wore her hair, and it's very obvious that this doll head doesn't have that hair, so we have to get a little creative and do some plan modifications, so that way there's nothing wrong, just different, to, you know, to quote Bob Ross, only happy accidents. Only happy accidents. So we're just gonna finish pinning things together into some semblance of style. There goes my hair trying to ruin the whole thing. There we go. Alright, I think that's going to work. We do the hairspray and the blow dryer yet again. This time in the front. Obviously, if this is a real person, I would not spray them in the eyeballs. That's a terrible thing. Okay, more loud noise. Some pins. I am going to let this other side kind of settle before I pull all of the pins out. But it's going to just show while that's finishing setting. So we have a little curl here. But as you can see, because her hair is shorter, even though it is curled under to make a bit of a page boy, it's still a little more freeform than what I have created on the style that I've done for the doll, which is a little bit more, well, one, her hair is much longer than June Allyson's, so while we can use the set pattern as a starting point, it is certainly not the exact same end point. So we're going to just give it a little, see? So we've made a page boy. If I wanted to, there's also the chance of like putting in that that dent. I opted to not do it this time. As you can see, we have a very 1950s esque style, and it didn't take too long to do. So I'm just gonna hold them up together, just see if we can get a view of both. So, you know, we're getting the idea. Obviously, this hair is much longer than this is, because this stops right here. but it's got the idea. I think that that's a great way to finish up. So all of that and everything being finished, I will say goodbye for this week, and we'll see you next week, 2 o'clock, to do another exciting, if you think it's exciting, I sure do, exciting episode of the Hollywood Hair Series. Next week it will be a heat set, since this was a wet set. So I will see everybody next week.